Hey, welcome to Strong, Beautiful You. I'm Amy Lewis, and I am here today to share one of my absolute favorite recipes with you. And that's exactly why we're calling this episode Your Pad Thai or Mine. I have a phenomenal recipe. The original is from Dee Emmons. She's the author of Vegetarian Planet. And one thing I love to do if I ever do follow a recipe is change it. And Dee did a fabulous job, but I wanted to remove things like the refined sugar, and I swapped that out for maple syrup. Instead of olive oil, we're using coconut oil today. So we're really going for as unprocessed as possible with our ingredients. And it looks like I've got a ton of things here. Dee Dee's recipe is super simple. So really, if you want to go simple, you're just going to need a few things. The first thing you need is pad thai rice noodles. And you can get that at your local grocery store. You can get that at your local food co-op. And they're nice flat noodles, and you're going to want to get rice noodles. So what I have right here is my rice noodles. They are already soaking. You're going to want to soak those rice noodles for 30 minutes in warm water. You don't want it to be super hot, and that's just going to soften the noodles up and get them ready. So those are already soaking and ready to go. Then we're going to want to get some other things ready. So if you don't want any animal protein, you can skip the eggs. If you do want to include that in your pad thai, you're going to want 2 eggs, and I'm going to share with you a secret that I learned from Anthony Bourdain, and I had to change it just because I cannot tolerate the dairy. You're just going to want to scramble these eggs up. So I'm just going to crack the eggs right in. I like to crack it right on the bottom of the bowl so I'm not getting egg all over the place. And if you do compost, those eggshells are compostable. So you can throw them right into your compost. All right. And then you just want to make sure you don't have raw egg on your hands. So I'm just going to go ahead and we're just going to mix that up. Now, the secret here with Anthony Bourdain's scrambled eggs was that he put in sour cream right at this phase. Now, because I cannot do the sour cream, I'm instead I had experimented with this, it came out awesome. I'm gonna go ahead and use some coconut milk. Now, this can of coconut milk, what I did with this was I put it in the refrigerator overnight and I turned it upside down. And then the next day I opened it up and the coconut water was on top and the coconut cream is on the bottom. So now I'm just gonna scoop out a nice tablespoon of that coconut cream, and we'll start with that. The coconut water, you can drink it, you can throw it right into a smoothie, and because this is a little thicker, you're just gonna wanna smush it up with your fork or with a whisk. And you're welcome to try the sour cream if that's something that works for you. However, you're not gonna have the inflammatory effects when you use coconut milk instead. So just mix that all up. We're gonna use our same pan for everything. So I love that, right? Less dishes for us at the end. And remember, you need protein for all of your body processes. So this is a really great way to get it in. And you don't only need to get that from animals. So let's set that aside and let's start prepping our veg. So we're gonna wanna chop up some garlic. Now, I love garlic, so the original recipe calls for 1 to 2 cloves of garlic. That would never be enough for me. And if you are not a garlic lover, stick with the 1 to 2 cloves. But if you really like garlic, then you know you're gonna need to go, at least double that. We've got the garlic, right? And sometimes people say, oh, I struggle to get the skins off, and then my fingers get all sticky. So what you want to do is take your knife, take the flat side, put it on top, and just crush that garlic. And now you can hear that garlic skin already cracked, and when I cut the ends off, it's super easy to peel off, and that's it. Then you can just set it aside and do the next one. So I like to do them all at once. Oop, that one's not as easy as the last one. So now we've got the skins off of the garlic, and we'll be able to chop that up. Oh, it looks like there's one more that got away from me here. All right. And then we'll also do the ginger. I want to peel the ginger as well because I want to just go nuts chopping everything at once. So once I'm in chopping mode, there's no stopping. So here we go. This is my ginger. And even though you can see, right, it looks like maybe I've had it a little bit because we had a big ginger root. I'm just gonna try and peel that skin right off, and you can see even though the skin's a little wrinkly, ooh, it smells great. If you could smell through the camera, you'd be able to smell that delicious ginger. And the great thing with ginger is not only does it give it a little bite and a little punch to the dish, but ginger has great healing qualities and really, really amazing. Something natural can help with inflammation. If you have any sort of issues with nausea, ginger is fantastic. It's anti-inflammatory, antibacterial, antifungal. So there's lots and lots of benefits to ginger and garlic. So you want to think about that because these things taste amazing. And how cool that the side benefit is that they're also healing. So there we go. We're going to chop up that ginger. And we just want to get it nice and small, mincing it. So if you ever see in a recipe minced versus chopped, chopped is just coarsely chopped. You can leave large pieces. Minced, you want to make them tiny. And I admit sometimes I get a little lazy and I don't go as small as I could. But today we're mincing it up. Now, as you go, just always keep your fingers away from the blade. These are really, really important. I know they sound simple, but even this, if you point your knuckle towards that knife, and I'm not a professional chef, as you can tell, because I have seen men and women wield the knife so quickly, just make sure that you're keeping those fingers away from that knife. Super important, so you can enjoy your pad thai. All right, so we've got this. This is gonna take you like the longest time, right? And it doesn't even take that long, but that's gonna take you a little bit of time, and you can see I'm kind of getting done chopping. So we're gonna have some bigger pieces of garlic in there. So what we're gonna do next is make our pad thai sauce. So that's why we've got all these limes. Now, I have lemons because I tend to not be able to have enough liquid. I always underestimate. So I just threw in a couple of lemons just in case we need a little bit more. So right now what I'm gonna do is take our liquids and we're gonna measure them in. Again, the original recipe is tasty and delicious, but all the feedback I got from my family is they want it to be saucier, more sauce, more sauce. They want it to be swimming in the sauce. So I actually quadrupled this part of the recipe because I doubled it in the past and it wasn't enough. I get it, it's good, but, so it really is delicious, but that's what we're gonna do. So the original recipe called for 2 to 3 limes. So, right, so I would need 8, right? 2, 4, 6, I have 6. So let's see how we do with 6 limes, and we might need those lemons. Another trick before you're cutting your limes and your lemons, you take that lime, put some pressure on it, preferably on the counter, not on something that's gonna move, and that's gonna help to loosen it up so that when you do go to squeeze the juice out, it's much more ready to do that. So let's do the same thing. Let's prep all of those limes. I know we're using all of the limes, and I'd love to have one left over for garnish, but that is more presentational, and it's gonna be more important that you have the taste that you want, although the presentation can be important, and I'm learning a lot about that. So if you know anything about presentation, and you feel like, yes, you wanna come on and help me with that, I would love to have you as a guest. I'm totally serious. I find that to be artwork, and not my area of expertise. So let's just get all these limes ready. Really press down, use your muscles. You can get a good workout there for your arms too. All right, I'm blocking you Facebook Livers over here. And let's cut the rest of those limes. And this whole flavor palette is just phenomenal. The limes, we've got cilantro, we have some hot chili sauce. It's all just gonna come together beautifully. The maple syrup brings the sweetness. So now I have this citrus juicer, and it's just handheld, right? It fits really nicely into this Pyrex measuring cup here. But it really allows me to, again, use my muscles and really get as much juice as possible out of that lime. And it allows you to go through real quickly. Now, if you are someone who owns a juicer, some juicers have a citrus attachment. It's a little bit different. because citrus is a little bit different. Now, when I make a green juice, I just, take the skin off of my citrus and put it right through. But this is, you want to get this juice out right here. So you can see there's not much left in there. There's not really anything going on. So we're going to keep going, and I really encourage you to try it in your own kitchen, and then let me know, did you make any changes? You can email me at amy@strongbeautifulyou.net, and let me know. Send a picture of your pad thai. Let me know how it came out. Let me know what changes you made. I'd love, love, love to hear from you, because I wish I could share this with you right now. But we can't share it through. What I can do, though, is continue to share the recipe and encourage you to step out of your comfort zone and make something new. And if this is something you've made before, you might even find that, you use sugar, right? A lot of pad thai recipes call for brown sugar. The sugar it doesn't make me feel good. My joints hurt. So when I go with maple syrup, it doesn't have the same effect that processed sugar does. So that looks like a lot of lime juice. I'm very excited. So after that, we're gonna add in just a teaspoon of salt. I like to use sea salt. So here we go. Now, again, you could add, since we are quadrupling this, you could add more salt in if you like. I will add some salt in while we're cooking. I'm not gonna be exacting with this, but I'm just gonna add 1 teaspoon of salt in for now, and we can always add more in later. Then we're also going to do our maple syrup, and we're gonna do a 1/2 cup. The original recipe calls for 2 tablespoons. So that would be 8 tablespoons total. And a little math, 4 tablespoons equals a 1/4 cup. So since we have 2 of those, we have 8, it's gonna be a 1/2 cup of maple syrup. So we're actually going to measure that. Let's see, we're at 3/4. So we'll go all the way up just to that 1/4 cup. And we just want all this to be ready, because you're gonna see in just a few minutes how all of this is gonna come together in just a delicious, amazing, amazing dish. And then we're just gonna do a little bit, I use sriracha. You can use a hot chili sauce of your choice. It's totally up to you. And it really is up to how much heat do you like. Some like it hot, right? So if you are not a heat lover, you may put just even a 1/2 teaspoon in just for the flavor, right? To give it a little bit of punch. I like to taste it later on and see how it is and add to it. But there's something about cooking it in, right, that just really, really, really yummy. So there we go. We just had the limes, salt, maple syrup, and the sriracha, and that's it. So we're gonna keep this ready to rock and roll. So now we've got our lime sauce. So the next thing that we're gonna do, let's get one more thing before we get cooking. I almost forgot that we want to julienne these carrots. So what that means is simply we're gonna peel them. That has nothing to do with julienne. And then we are going to slice these carrots nice and thin. Vitamin B12 is a really, really important vitamin, and we used to get more of it from the dirt. I know that sounds crazy, but when there weren't so many chemicals and things in our environment, and we pulled things right out of the ground, and we weren't so hypersensitive to peeling and washing every last thing, we got some of that vitamin B12 from the actual dirt. So I'm not suggesting you have to eat dirt by any means. It's just a little interesting fact I think about whenever I chop carrots here, because if you've ever grown carrots, you pull them right out because they're a root vegetable, and they usually are covered with soil, right? So here, you want to cut these nice and thin. And again, I'd love to have someone come on and even show us all, like, what's a more efficient way to get these sliced really thin? Is there a trick? I will always share my tricks with you, but I'm wondering if you guys have a trick for me that could make this process go a little faster, because I bet there is one. All right, so get those carrots. Now again, the recipe calls for 1 carrot. I'm gonna do 2.5 there. And then you could do whatever you like. If you wanted to add in peppers, I brought some peppers and I've got some fennel. And if you'd like to add anything else into your pad thai, you're more than welcome to. right? So don't get stuck on it's got to be this way. And yes, it is. You can look up what is more traditional, and you can run with that, or you can get creative and think about what tastes you enjoy, you and your family. So let's get this carrot going, and then we'll go ahead and start cooking right after we get those scallions done too. The vegetables will not be raw, but they are still going to have a little crunch to them. But at the same time, for those of you who struggle with digesting raw vegetables, they'll be more digestible because they will be cooked. So you don't have to do a lot of cooking. You could even lightly steam vegetables if if you're just adding some more vegetables to your diet and you're struggling with your digestion. You can steam them, or you can boil them, blanch them real quick. And that'll just ease your body into getting used to all that extra fiber. All right, so we have got our carrots. Let's do this last purple one. I really loved the color of this carrot. Okay. All right. So that's really cool. And that's one of the cool things when you're going locally and grabbing some things. This was a bag of assorted carrots, and I love that purple and yellow. Finally, we've got some scallions, and we're going to just chop off the ends of those scallions. And then we're going to slice those scallions in half. And same thing I'm going to do with this all at once. Do all the slicing first. All right. It's going to be so good. All right. And again, the smells, I love the pungent smells of the scallions, of the ginger. And once you've cut those in half, you're just going to go into rounds. So just go ahead and slice. And again, you're chopping. This is going to be big. You're not trying to mince this. And you can see as the green of the leaves, you can feel when you need to pull those out and where you can go. So the little darker ones I'm just pulling out. They feel a little more wilty. The greener leaves or the greener part of the scallion still has some crunch to it. So we'll use all of that. All right, so we're gonna leave it at that for now and get cooking. So let's come on over. And the first thing that we're gonna do is cook the eggs. And we're gonna barely cook them. We're gonna just cook them, because we're going to throw them back in. We're going to take them out and throw them back in. Now, with a nonstick pan, you really don't need any sort of oil or anything. It's a nonstick pan, right? So I love this pan. But if you do want a little something, I'm going to use coconut oil. When you use coconut oil, you don't want to do super high heat. So I'm just going to take a little bit. That's a half a teaspoon. Whoop. And coconut oil is great for your skin, so right, you get it on you and then you can just rub it right onto your skin, no big deal. Alrighty, so let's get that going. And then we're gonna really right away throw those eggs in there with that coconut milk. So yep, we've got a Thai palette going, and we're gonna use that coconut milk, coconut oil, lime. All right, here we go. So let's throw that in, and we'll let that start cooking. And in the meantime, I'm just gonna clean the bowl real quick because I'm gonna need somewhere for those eggs, and I definitely don't wanna put them back in with raw eggs, right? So I wanna go ahead and make sure I clean that up while the eggs are cooking, right? So you can really get efficient with what you're doing. Doesn't matter that there's water in there, right? And then we can come right back and scramble up those eggs. Great. All right. So again, you want to sort of move them around. You can look at that the fluffiness of that coconut milk in those scrambled eggs. Looking awesome. So you can keep moving it and grooving it, especially if you've got heat on there. You know, especially if it's higher heat, you just don't want to overcook the eggs. Because remember, once they're done, they're set aside, and then we're going to throw them in with everything else. All right. So I am just waiting another moment to see just a drop more water evaporate, liquid evaporate. And they're gonna be at that just cooked stage that we're looking for. So we'll put that aside and we're gonna use the same exact pan. So if you do it to the just cooked stage, the cool thing is you won't even need to clean your pan in between. You'll be able to jump right back in. So let's do a little bit more coconut oil, and we're gonna throw our garlic and our ginger in. Now another ingredient that I did not have with me today, but that I would consider throwing in would be turmeric. And I love getting fresh turmeric root. It's again another anti-inflammatory, right? Get that coconut oil into your skin there. And it's really, really adds a nice, delicious taste, especially to your Thai dishes. So get that coconut oil melted, and then we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna grab the garlic and the ginger. And I'm just sliding it right onto my knife and throwing it in there. So again, just be mindful of the blade. Some of these tricks you don't want to do at home, right? So just be really careful. Awesome. And then you're just going to go ahead and saute that. It's really going to be for at most a minute, and you can see where I got lazy with those chunks of garlic, and it will be just fine. So as you start to see, again, move this around, no burning. You don't want to burn that. And then we're going to throw in the carrots and the scallions. And we're going to saute that just for another couple of minutes as well. So this is where it all comes together. Now all of these extra things, the peppers, the fennel, those are all great additions if you'd like to add them in. So we've got the carrots. We're going to just throw this in for now. Scallions, yum. Let's get the rest of these scallions in. All right. So now you just want to saute this, and now this is really getting beautiful and colorful. And that is something else that you'll want to just think about right now. How many servings of fruits and vegetables do you have a day? Can you add one more in? You don't have to say, oh my gosh, I eat 0, now I need to start eating like 6 to 8 to 10 servings of fruits and veggies. Start with 1. And if you're already doing it, add 1 more. So this looks beautiful and colorful. We just want to saute this a bit more to let the carrots soften a little bit. And then we're going to add our lime juice mixture. So this is also going to help. Oh, and there's so much today. Wonderful. Wonderful. This is great. All right, so that's going to allow these veggies to cook a little bit more. And what I'm going to do actually is throw the top on so we can grab those noodles. All right. So we've got our noodles here, we've got our eggs, and we're going to end up wanting some cilantro and some sprouts as well. All right. So let's just let that sit for a moment. So the benefit of throwing that cover on with all that lime juice in there is that now the vegetables can steam and cook a little bit faster for us, because now we're at this almost at the final stages here. Right, where we're going to throw everything together. Now remember, we soaked the noodles, but the noodles aren't fully cooked yet, so we're going to put those in. And I have a set of tongs here as well. If you don't own tongs, you don't have to run out and buy some to make this dish. But what you can do is grab 2 large spoons or 2 wooden spoons so that you can toss this, because really that's what you're going to want to do, and not right out of the pan like I just did. But you're going to want to toss this around, because you can see all of those noodles are now on the top. And we don't want that. We want everything to mix together. So we're going to throw that in. And then again, if you wanted add some more veggies in, you could totally do that. Try to keep it in the pot. I'm not doing a great job there. All right. So this you'll want to really just work through, because you remember how many carrots we had. It wasn't, a ton that was filling the pan, but you know that there's more down there than what's coming out here. And this is going to be a dish that's heavy on the noodles, but the cool thing, remember, is that they are rice noodles, and they're not going to give you that same bloated feeling that you might get from pasta dishes. So now we've got those noodles, and while we grab the last couple of things we need to throw into this dish to complete it, we're just gonna put that top on again so everything can steam just a little bit more. And now all we've got is the eggs, we've got sprouts, and we're using mung bean sprouts. So we're gonna throw those eggs in, we're gonna throw the sprouts in, and then we're gonna chop some cilantro, and we're gonna be ready to rock and roll. So let's throw those sprouts in. I like to use an entire bag of sprouts, and you can see this is really turning out to be quite a dish. It's really filling up here, and then those eggs. So again, if you're not big into animal protein, but you do like some, this is perfect because there's 2 eggs for this entire dish. And you could feed quite a few people this way. So if you don't have those tongs, you can go ahead and use whatever you got. A spoon, a spatula, mix it all together here. Get those eggs in, get the carrots coming up, that I can hear the lime mixture. Oh, this is great. So if I move some of this over, you might be able to see all down here, we've got all this lime mixture. So you want to just scoop that around. And if you're not ready to eat yet, I would just go ahead and put that top on, but be mindful of your noodles. You do want the noodles to be chewy, but you don't want them to end up getting soggy. And this is going to be a great, great meal. All right, so let's put a top on here. And again, we'll let that keep going. And we'll grab a plate and we'll throw some on a plate for you, and we'll be off to the races. But before we do that, let's just chop up some of this cilantro. So you could just grab a bunch. Cilantro is also, oh, I was gonna say what kind of parsley it was called, and I can't remember now. It just left my head. So if you know what cilantro, it's also called something parsley, go ahead and let me know. So I hope that you're getting this. I hope you're gonna make this recipe. We are just finishing up here. I'm gonna throw some of this right into the dish, and then we'll actually grab some leaves and we'll just make it look pretty on the plate. So let's just sprinkle that on. And then one more thing we're gonna need for garnish is our nuts. So I'm using cashews today. If you're making pad thai and you're looking a recipe up, you are most of the time going to see peanuts are called for. And again, peanuts are yet another thing that bother me, but the cashews don't. Cashews are actually a seed. They're not really a nut or a legume. So I'm not suggesting that you run out and try it if you're allergic to nuts, but it is something that you could talk with your healthcare practitioner about, because the cashews often don't bother folks who are bothered by other nuts, because it's actually, even though it looks like a legume, it has that split, right? And you would think that these would be nuts. They're actually a seed. So I'm just chopping these up because once we plate this up, what we're gonna wanna do is we're gonna wanna throw on some cilantro and some nuts. So let's just finish that off here. Let's grab our dish once more. And that had cooked eggs in it, so I'm really not so concerned. Just give it a rinse. And let's go ahead and see if we can't get some of this out into our bowl. All right, this looks fantastic, and it's nice and juicy today. All right, I will leave this to cook a little bit more, but I'm gonna turn that heat way down because I don't want to overdo those noodles. And then let's simply throw on, we'll sprinkle some of the nuts right over, and we will finish it off. Let's pick off some of these cilantro leaves, and we can throw them right in there. All right. And now you have a super simple dish that you can make in really less than 30 minutes, your pad thai or mine. So dig in, let me know how yours comes out. Go ahead and email me at amy@strongbeautifulyou.net, and let me know how your pad thai came out. Let me know if you have any tips to share with me, and let me know if there's any recipes that you want to know how to make or alter. So thanks so much for tuning in today. I can't wait to hear feedback from you. Enjoy your pad thai, and I'll see you next time. Take care now.